guys, it's B, and I just wanted to share with you guys things that I've read recently, slash my nonfiction November wrap-up, etc, etc. The first book that I finished in November was Dracula by Bram Stoker. You guys, I'm obsessed with vampires, love them. I love vampires in every shape and form, and cannot believe that I never got around to reading the ultimate classic vampire story. I have to admit that it was somewhat of a disappointment. I was expecting a bit more from the book. So of course it's about a vampire, and there are those that set out to rid the world of this evil demon. But evil demon who? That was one of the things that fell short for me. Aside from all the blathering, super wordy telling of the story, there was very little that actually had to do with Dracula. I would have liked to have known more of his story, his insight, his inner goals and wants, and the whole actions and reasons behind the things that he was doing, other than just, ooh, a spooky demon is on the loose. It was a little too wordy for me. What action there was very minimal, and just towards the very end of the book. And I have to say, once the story closes, I had so many questions. They defeated him, but how did they defeat him? Like, what happens next? Where was, like, it just, there were so many loose ends and holes in the story that I ultimately just gave it 3 stars. And the majority of that being that it is like the beacon of all vampire tales. And it wasn't horrible, but it was just very lengthy and told in like journal entries and letters and things like that, when I wanted more action and more insight into who is this demon and why is he doing the things that he do. And yay, we're gonna defeat him, but how exactly, and now what happens? So I'm sad to say that I was totally disappointed by this one. The next book that I finished was In the Night by Wendy Walker. This is a story of 2 sisters that basically just disappear into thin air one night, and 3 years later, one of the sisters returns. One of the most hyped up thrillers that I am sad to say I fell into the hype. And it's so crazy because I was on the fence, but I just bet this isn't gonna be good. I bet it's totally gonna be like an overhyped thriller again. And I should have stayed on the fence and not gotten off to hop into the ride, because it was exactly what I thought it was gonna be. It's the story of Cass, who's the younger sister that, as I said previously, returns one night 3 years later after the girls have disappeared. And the story follows Cass's retelling, and also the forensic psychiatrist, Abby Winters, that's placed on the case, who just seems to think that something doesn't add up in her story, and something doesn't add up in the story. The book was just barely over 300 pages, but the plot and the storyline felt so convoluted, it took me a month to like wade through this quicksand of a book. It starts off great, the pacing is good, it's moving forward, things are happening, but then towards right before the middle, things just start to kind of slow down and just drone on and on and on as far as the story. And then towards the end, once we're given little clues and things are revealed and pieces of the puzzle are starting to create the bigger picture, just everything's happening at such a snail's pace that it's hard to keep interest. It was hard to connect with the main character in the book. And it had so much potential. The story and the plot idea were awesome, but just the execution of it, just, I don't even understand, like I can't put into words how a book this short seriously felt like a 500-page novel. Like, it makes no sense to me. What should have been a quick read wasn't. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And now getting into the nonfiction part of November for Nonfiction November. A lot of readers take the month of November to knock out a lot of nonfiction reads, especially if they don't read nonfiction regularly throughout the rest of the year. I love Nonfiction November. Started participating in it, I believe, oh God, is it 2 years now? But absolutely love it, because at the time I wasn't reading a lot of nonfiction. Things have totally changed since then, but I still look forward to November to pile on as many interesting nonfiction reads as I can. The first nonfiction book that I finished was The Radium Girls by Kate Moore. This is the story of, oh my goodness you guys, numerous women that were working in factories right around the beginning of the First World War. At this time, there's been a wonder mineral that's been discovered, radium, and it's sort of believed to be a cure-all for everything. People put it in their lotions, they drink it mixed in their water like it's a vitamin. It's supposed to be the fountain of youth, wonder drug to keep everyone healthy and to fight diseases and illnesses, things like that. The girls that are working in the factories, they're actually using radium because it actually has a glowing effect to paint the dials of the watches that were going to be shipped to the soldiers in the war overseas. It's become so popular that household items are now adorned with radium as well, like household clocks, things of that nature. And so the girls, they're painting the dials in the factories using good old radium, and since they're told that everything is fine and that it's good for them, some of them even adorn their clothes with it before they go out on dates or go out with the girls for the night. Some even like brush it on their teeth to give them a glowing smile, using it as beauty products, painting their nails, etc., things like that. Little does anyone know that radium happens to be poisonous. Like beyond toxic, horrible for human ingestion, even like touching it with your skin. And the poor girls, the way that they're painting the dials in the factory, so as not to waste paint, they're actually pointing the hairs of the brush with their mouths to keep it very precise so their work will be just exact and they won't get in trouble for wasting products. So each time they're done with one number or whatever it is that they're painting, they point the brush with their lips and then dip it into the radium. And this is going on and on and on, and everyone's told that's fine, that there's no health dangers. Dun dun dun! You can totally figure out what's coming. Girls start to get sick, different forms of cancer start to happen, teeth are falling out, jawbones are falling out. Just horrible, 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 gross, disgusting things. Come to find out that the company actually was aware that women were getting sick and that radium had adverse effects. This of course is down the line, but they're still telling the women that everything's okay and they're perfectly healthy, and if any of them are getting sick, that it can't have anything to do with radium because there is no health risk involved. Long story short, the fight that these women fought actually put into practice some of the laws and the rules and regulations that we have today for workers' rights in the workplace. The book was so very interesting. The amount of research that Kate Moore did, absolutely phenomenal. Like I can't even imagine how long it took and how difficult it was to even find this information. I've never heard anything about this story, anything even remotely close to it. Just the fact that she was able to find so many stories of the women and their families and what happened and all the connections with everyone and the different factories, because it wasn't just here in the States, there was actually a factory in Canada that was affected as well. Absolutely amazing. My only complaint with the book was that she mentioned so many women that it was hard to really connect and remember each woman's story. Everything just kind of seemed to flow together just because there were so many names of girls and women that were affected. It was kind of hard to keep place. It was juggling all of this information about all the different cases that were going on. But I definitely highly recommend it. Absolutely amazing, the courage that these women have to fight the fight that they fought, to stand up to the corporations, the companies, and the lawyers, and the hell that they were put through, and to still persevere. Absolutely amazing, you guys. I totally recommend it. Give it 4 stars. The next book that I finished was Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. You guys, I've been waiting to read this forever. Audible had a daily deal, and I scooped up the audiobook. So happy, because it's actually narrated by Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I was stoked. I was so jazzed. I absolutely love space, things of that nature, science. Like, I'm a nerd. I find it super interesting. Absolutely love it. If I'd been better at math, I probably would have gone down that road as far as like schooling and work, but I digress. Astronomy, astrophysics, quantum physics, things of that nature. Super interesting. I absolutely love Neil deGrasse Tyson. Any shows or specials that he's on, I totally watch. I love it how he can just break down the most complicated of sciences into layman's terms that we can all understand and relate to. Absolutely amazing. The book was super interesting. very, very fast listen. The only thing is I ended up giving it 3.75 instead of 4 stars, and that's solely because of me. I don't know if it was the fact that I was listening to it via audiobook. Maybe I would have been able to grasp and absorb more had I been actually like reading words on a page than just like listening. The ultimate way for me to consume information like this is to actually, like, if this had been a lecture that he was presenting and we could go hear him speak, or if it had been a special in TV where there had been graphs or slides or things like that that I could visually relate to. Because whereas it's not super complicated, I would say that I probably only fully grasped like 75 to 80% of the book, but the rest of it and the parts that I did grasp were absolutely amazing, and the theories and the explanations and his points of views on all of it, from the Big Bang to black holes, and just so interesting, you guys. If you have any kind of interest in any of the above topics that I named, definitely give this a listen. And he does bring it down to everyday man's ability to comprehend and understand. I totally recommend it. Next up, you guys, another Audible Daily Deal that I was super stoked to come across. I've actually been wanting to read this one since before its release, and that was Burt Bucks by Josh Malerman. So something is in the world. No one knows what it is, but if anyone looks at it, you instantly lose your mind and go mad, and you end up killing yourself. But nobody knows what it is, what form it is, and what to look out for, when it appears, when it's safe, when it's not. Absolutely super intense plot. If you're into post-apocalyptic and thrillers, then this one will probably be right up your alley. The main character in the story is Mallory. She has 2 kids. It's actually about her life before whatever takes over Earth happens. So it's her story as the world is falling apart, her fight for survival, the birth of her children, and her fight for surviving for them and teaching them how to survive in this new effed up world and situation that's going on. So we get to the point where Mallory and her kids, they're on their own, and she's trying to get them to a safe place, not being able to use any other senses but your ears and whatever wits and survival tactics that she's used to keep them all alive this long. Super intense, great read. The pacing was perfectly on point, kept things moving forward, even flashing back to her past to figure out how she's gotten to be in the position that she's in now. Very, very interesting. The only complaint that I have, there were a couple of loose ends for me. A couple of things weren't answered, and kind of like big things. I still recommend it, but I need to know more about what happened, what's going on. Oh. I've got questions. I got questions and I need to know. But I definitely recommend it 4 stars. Those are the 5 books that I finished last month. Not as much nonfiction as I would have hoped for, but the 2 nonfiction books that I knocked out were so good that I couldn't be more pleased. I'm super happy that I got to finish those. Hopefully December will be as good with more enjoyable reads than not. And I'm so happy to finally be filming this video, you guys. I've been wanting to do it forever, but I was sick, I was traveling, blah, 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 but here it is. So thanks so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you guys have read any of these, please let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. And if you'd like to see more, feel free to subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when I put out new videos. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much to all the new subscribers, you guys. Like, totally appreciate you. Look forward to getting to know you guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.